Ron, you've talked a lot about, other sports head coaches coming in and what you can learn from them. What can you, when you talk to a guy like Harold, what can you learn from each other?
What was interesting was talking with him today, and we talked about what happened at the PGA, and he said, it was really cool because it was great to see the fruits of his labor. All the stuff that he's been working on and practicing, finally be able to put it together. Sure, he did it for 3 rounds, and unfortunately in the fourth, he struggled a little bit, but he said just the experience now of learning. So it was just kind of cool to hear that, that the hard work you put in, that eventually you do get an opportunity to show what you've improved on. So that was kind of a neat conversation we had over there.
Speaking of hard work, someone like Ross Cottrell, obviously coming off of a season of broken tibia and fibia, what have you seen out of the work that he's put in?
It's been very good. I mean, he's had a couple of really good days of work. Yesterday he did a great job. Today he did another solid job. So it's good to watch him, come back, especially after what he's been through. And again, it also speaks of the hard work that he's put in terms of his rehab and just getting himself back on the football field.
Ron, what positions did Rashawn Golden play for you today, and how did he do?
Rashawn played both safety and nickel for us, and I thought he did a nice job. He had a good day yesterday. Very enthusiastic. He's working really hard. We just got to be careful, when we're out there. But he's doing some really good things. And again, he's showing us what we're hoping we could see. And he'll continue to work at both spots.
And seeing a lot of defensive moves becoming more multiple. How did guys do today when transitioning between 3-man and 4-man fronts?
Well, I thought the guys handling everything we're doing very well. We really kind of stressed them. The biggest thing, and I was really pleased from the carryover from last year to this year with the other stuff that we've done. I think what Eric and the guys have done in terms of the installation has been outstanding. And their retention, and then their ability to go out and operate and really execute the things that we've been putting in has been really good. I'm pleased with it.
Well, what necessary? Why did you make that change? I mean, that's a change, but why add that in?
Well, I think the biggest thing is because we're playing so many multiple style offenses that you just can't line up and let them attack you. And I kind of saw that last season in the middle of the year. And started doing some different things, and I saw that every time we did some of those things, something positive happened. The unfortunate part was, Shaq got hurt at the end, and we really didn't get to do things I wanted to do in the last 2 games without him in there. So it's kind of neat to see the things that you think you are capable of doing and watch it, but we really won't know until we get into the preseason and the regular season.
How's K1's skill set help with going to this kind of transition?
Well, I think we have guys that have multiple skill sets, and for what we want to do and how you want to do it, they're going to be able to transition from one spot to the other because of those skill sets. It's good to see a guy that has that kind of ability. K1 is a special big guy athlete. I mean, you look at him, he's a big guy, but he is very athletic.
Ron, Cam not throwing yet. I mean, can you kind of give us an idea of what the plan is, maybe moving forward, and when he may throw?
Well, there really is no plan in terms of when to expect to say, okay, this is what's going to happen. What they're doing is they're taking it day by day, week by week, and they're evaluating, and they'll just continue to go through the process. There is no time frame.
But you're hoping.
I'm very optimistic.
Camp
I'm optimistic. I think he's done a great job. Everything that I've seen tells me that he's doing a great job, and we'll just continue to go forward with it until we're told what he can and can't do.
At this point in his career, is it kind of not a big deal that he's not throwing at OTAs?
It's a very big. It's a really big, not that big deal.
Good. Ron, how much value was there in having done this a couple of years ago and kind of getting a sense of what his schedule would be? Maybe?
Well, I think the biggest plus for him more than anything else is we got 3 young guys that we think can help us, and we're giving them every opportunity. We're rolling guys through. Each guy's playing with a different group every day, and so I think that helps them. It helps the guys around them. It helps them, all assimilate to the teammates and assimilate to what we're doing. So there's a lot of positives. For Cam, it's, we have him in the back there. He's back there with Norv. He's back there with Scott. And they're constantly talking about what's going on the field. And that, I think, has also been a huge plus. With the exception of throwing the ball physically, he does everything else.
How excited are you to see him in a second year with Norv? I mean, he's the first
I'm very
year was kind
excited.
of
I think the first year definitely was a learning curve, and unfortunately, the arm weakness came up. But I think the thing that's really cool is that, I just anticipate a nice big step this year. I think for everybody in the system, I think Christian has a chance to grow. You know, we've got DJ who's growing, and Curtis is growing, and Jarius is, you know, just a solid veteran for us, Scott, for us in there. Now you've got Greg, who really didn't get a chance to really function in it. Ian made some big steps. You know, Chris Manhertz, you know, added Chris Hogan to the mix. And then we got a whole slew of other, you know, tools, weapons that we can use on the offensive side. I think that are going to grow and have success in what we do.
Why was Ian off to the sideline today?
He's just going through some rehab on a sore leg, so we'll go from there.
And then, can you describe Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore's friendship? They seem like they have a lot of fun together, and they obviously click on the field.
They do. They click very well, and I think because, you know, they know how important it is that they do click, and it's kind of neat to watch those two. But you watch them interact with all the other guys. I mean, Jarius is right in the middle of it, as is Chris Hogan. I mean, bringing Chris, you know, a guy that's been there, that's been a big part of something that's very special in New England. Hopefully that kind of wears off on our guys, and I think a guy like that really adds to the mix.
Ron, a couple of the offensive linemen are still limited, but on paper, that line looks like it could be one of your best in a while. What do you see the potential?
Well, I see we have some potential, but at the end of the day, you know, it's about being able to stay healthy too. I mean, we felt pretty good going into last year, and we lost 3 tackles within 4 days of practice. So, you know, we've just got to stay healthy and be fortunate that way. I do like the young guys. I think, you know, we've added some quality depth, but you really don't know until you get a chance to play. And again, you know, to the question is that you like the depth, but hopefully we can keep the depth.
Is Barrett ahead of schedule or on?
I think he's on schedule, but we'll see. And again, that's a fluid thing that, according to Ryan, but he's done everything we've asked, so it's been really good.
You talked a lot about depth and guys that you lost last year during training camp. Kevon Seymour seems like he's fully healthy. What have you been seeing from him so far this year?
We've seen his speed, his quickness, his explosiveness. I think that's kind of the cool thing. Is that here's a guy that is really fast, that showed he had that ability. We had him for a little bit until he got hurt. And to see him get back out there and exhibit it on the field, that's really good. And that's a huge plus for us. You know, so we're still kind of feeling some things out. I mean, for the first time, you know, we have a situation where we could potentially have the same group of guys out there in the secondary, something we hadn't had in a while.
Ron, you had talked a little bit last season about how you don't really necessarily believe in the stereotypical definition of a number one receiver because
Yes.
you want everyone to complement and you want to spread the ball around. Is that something this could be featured this year?
No, again, still according to the way, you know, Norv does things, and again, I've been very fortunate. I've been with him in San Diego for 4 seasons. You know, you never really see one guy, you know, being targeted 15, 20 times consistently. One game a guy may be targeted that much, but next week it might be somebody else. And I think to sit there and say, well, that's the guy. Well, you know, if you're in 12 personnel or 22 personnel, you know, 12 you've got 2 wide receivers, 22 you only got 1. And we have different packages in that. So it's unfair to sit there and say, you know, that's the true number one. Now, if the guy does step up and he catches 100 balls, now that's a guy. I mean, and if you were going to say who's your number one, I'd probably say Christian right now.
All right, guys, we got to wrap up. So,
Coach, is there a chance with all the moving parts in the secondary for somebody to kind of make a leap besides Rashawn, who had a lot of reps at different spots? Is there anybody else that you kind of been seeing thus far in the offseason that?
Well, I think Kevon's done a nice job. He really has, and you know, we got a group of safeties that are all competing. You know, we've rolled out a whole bunch of those guys. Guys that we brought in last year that were on the practice squad have stepped up. Guys that were coming off of IR as well. So, I mean, that's probably going to be one of the more competitive groups we have in terms of not just who's going to start, who's going to be key backups. You know, who makes the roster.